You guys might be asking yourselves, what is a mask? Well, the mask is typically worn by a person that hides something. You see, if you're a robber and you go rob a bank, you wear a mask to hide your identity, so that way you don't get caught. In other words, you might want to wear a mask to hide your insecurities, to hide your shame, to hide your faults, and everything that you think people might not like. So, like, if I were to go home tonight and my parents were to be like, you know what, Blake, your dad and I tried it and it's not working out. We're getting a divorce. I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be depressed. So when I go to school the next day, I'm not gonna show I'm depressed. I'm not gonna show I'm sad. I'm going to put on this fake facade of being happy. I'm going to force a smile. I'm going to pretend on the outside that everything's fine, but on the inside I'm conflicted. I'm sad. I feel like everything's going wrong. I feel like life is going out of control. I put on the mask to hide the shame, but in the end, that's the pain. You see, in Matthew 23, verses 27 through 28, Jesus is talking to the Pharisees, and he says, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites. You're like whitewashed tombs that on the outside look clean and beautiful, but on the inside are full of dead men's bones and everything that is unclean. In the same way, on the outside you appear to people as righteous, but on the inside you're full of hypocrisy and wickedness." See, Jesus is calling out the Pharisees. He's saying that they're wearing this mask. They are acting like they are the elite religious people. God doesn't want perfection. He just wants you to see the problem and to try and fix it. He doesn't want people to simply put it behind a mask and just pretend everything's okay, because we're not perfect, so don't try to act like you are. See, in my life, I wanted to be popular. I wanted to be with the popular kids. I wanted everybody to think of me as the cool kid. Honestly, I wasn't the cool kid. I was insecure. I was kind of bigger, I was kind of nerdish, I'm not going to lie. But when I went to school, I would act one way, and when I was at home, I act another. At home, I would sit there and be like, "Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not talk bad about their parents behind their back," and all that good stuff. But when I get to school, I'm going to hang with these kids and be like, "Hey, what's up, dude? Oh, want to hang out with that kid? Oh, no, we can't, because he's too big, he's too fat, I can't hang out with him. That kid over there? No, I can't hang out with him, but I can copy his homework because he's a nerd." You see, you put on the mask at first to hide the shame, but in the end, it adds to the pain. I put on the mask to hide my insecurities because I was worried about how others would think of me. But in the end, I just added to the pain of myself. I've added to the guilt I have, and I added to the pain of others. Who am I to know that one comment I made about that kid saying that kid's fat, he didn't go home and sit on his bed and think, "Man, 10 people said I was fat today. 10 people said I wasn't worth it. And it's only Monday." How do I know that I didn't cause that kid to develop an eating disorder or to start cutting themselves? I don't know that. So I have to live with that guilt every day thinking, man, I might have done that to a kid. It's crazy. So at first you put on the mask and you want to hide the shame. You want to hide your insecurities because you're afraid of how people think about you. But I gotta tell you, it's not worth it. My friend Twan, my junior year, he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey Blake, are you playing football?" And I'm like, "No man, I'm not playing football this year. Why do you ask?" And he replied, "Because when you played football, I didn't want to hang around with you because you're mean. You were a jerk." I was like, whoa, I was a jerk? I was mean? I thought I was a cool kid. I put on this mask, I put on this facade of being something that I wasn't, because people didn't want an insecure kid. They didn't want a fat kid. They didn't want a kid who wasn't confident in who he was. They wanted a kid who was arrogant. They wanted a kid who was self-centered. They wanted a kid who was able to stand up for themselves. So I put on this mask trying to be something that I wasn't, trying to gain people's acceptance, but instead I pushed people away. You see, God calls us to love God and love people, but I didn't love people when I wore that mask. I pushed people away. I made fun of people. I was a jerk. You see, what Twan associated with football, I knew to be something different. I knew it to be something greater. See, you don't have to be in a sport to be a jerk. You don't have to be in a sport to make fun of people. We can do that anywhere, any time. See, I got to know a person who loved me for who I was, not for the mask, but who was beneath the mask, for the guy who was insecure. I got to know a person who loved me in all of my faults. even though I didn't deserve it. See, what's one associated with football, I knew it to be different. I knew it to be God's love for me. Him showing me that my self-worth doesn't come from others. It comes from myself. Oxygen, we're called to love God and love people, but when you put on that mask, you don't love people. So I implore you, I beg of you, please, let's take off the mask together. You put on the mask to hide the shame, but in the end it adds to the pain. So please, let's take off the masks, and so we can love God with all of our heart, all of our mind, and all of our soul, and love people as we would love ourselves. Thank you.
It's not easy to go through life without having secrets. From childhood, we learn to hide the things that make us look weak or make us feel guilty. The truth is that oftentimes we try to hide these things. Rather than face the pain, we grow calloused. Rather than feel rejection, we build false walls of stability. Rather than run the risk of being honest, we choose to build our lives around the lies that bandage our wounds. On the surface, we have found a way to hide what lies inside, but it's there, eating away at us, begging to be hidden while at the same time screaming for release. For many, our desire to be free is captive only to our desperate fear of being found out. It is something we all share. It is a fear that will continue to hold us back for as long as we allow it. What would it take to face this fear? What would our lives be like if we could release the weight of the secrets we carry with us every day? What if there was a God big enough to bear this burden? There is a Savior who gave his life to take our most painful hurts on himself. He forgave our offenses and overlooked our mistakes. In love, he made our personal wounds his own, and through his sacrifice, we have been given the opportunity to take all of our guilt, all of our shame, and all of our failures, and erase them away. Through the love of Christ, we can live without secrets.
Tonight's been awesome. If you've been here, if you've been awake, if your eyes have been open, you've been able to see something that is phenomenal, something taking place where the Stomp team